Hey guys, welcome back. We are back in the shop. We're going to hopefully finish disassembly on the differential assembly, and then I've got a new tool that we're waiting on, and I'll show you guys that tool and how it works. But hopefully we can get this differential disassembled, and then we'll go on to the axles and axle housings. We'll pick the best ones, bearings, races. Hopefully we don't have to replace any of them. And yeah, axles, we'll look at the splines on the axles and see, which ones are best as far as wear, because these 6-spline axles, the wheels have a tendency to rock on the splines a lot, so they can wear quite significantly. Same with the ends of the crankshaft. On the clutch driver side, they can have a lot of wobble in them because the splines get wore on both the clutch driver and the crankshaft. So, but anyways, we're gonna start with the differential. I'll show you guys what tool I bought, and then so I bought this. I watched a video on YouTube, and this guy was drilling out rivets from a frame rail on a, I don't know, vintage car or truck. He was drilling out the rivets, and then he had talked about this tool. It's called a rotacut. This is kit number 11075. But I use this tool, which has a variety of sizes. Different kits have different, ranges of sizes, but this one has from 5/16 to 3/4 inch, and it's basically a sheet metal hole cutter kit. But this guy was using it to cut the heads off of these rivets, and then he would drive the rivets out of the frame, and it would take 30 to 60 seconds to cut the head off of the rivet, and then a hammer and a punch, and he just was knocking these rivets out. And I said, well, I bet you that would work on these rivets for the differential. So I picked it up. It was like $70 for the kit, and it comes with an arbor and then the bit on the end, and it's basically just like a 5-pointed, cutter. It just cuts down into the metal, but it's got a hollow center with a built-in spring-loaded centering punch. So this centering punch will, you obviously have to do it by hand first, put a punch mark on the head of the rivet, but the centering punch, because it's under high spring tension, will then keep this thing centered on the head of the rivet or on that punch mark that you made. And then as you cut down, it cuts the outer ring off of the rivet head and leaves just the shaft. So then you can drive it out of the hole that it's in. It's actually a really nifty tool. I did 3, 6, 9, 12 rivets on this thing in 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe. I mean, they all just cut right off. So big thing is try to make sure you're as centered as possible over the rivet head. And you'll know when you need to stop, because as soon as you break through that rivet head, you'll see the outer ring move. So you just, pull back on the drill, and, you won't drill into the gear, or cut into the gear. So, but all those rivet heads are off, so I don't have any of that on camera. But now the issue I'm running into is these rivets are tight. So the issue I'm running into is I've driven them down flush with the gear, but I can't drive them any further. The punch I'm using, it's not allowing me. I'm using brass punches because I don't want to mushroom the head if I can help it. But I'm using a couple different size brass drifts, and the big one obviously I use to get it flush, and then this little one I've been trying to drive them down through the gear, but I've only been able to move about 2 of them. So I picked up a air hammer or air chisel set from Domino, and we're going to see if probably this one Yep, that one should work. I should be able to drive these things out, I hope. Hopefully I can at least get them out enough to... Hopefully I can at least get them out enough to move everything to where I can cut them maybe, and you know, if there's a mushroomed end, I can cut it off flush and then keep driving through the next piece, because there's actually 2 gears and a hub, and each gear is riveted on each side of the hub. So yeah, anyway, let's get this air hammer going. I got my ear protection here, so let's get it going, and we'll see if we can get this differential apart and maybe move on to the axle disassembly. Those are pretty simple, so let's see what we can do. Well, we got it apart, but what I found is, here I'll have to rotate this up. What I found is, so the central hub has all of these lobes, right? And this is what the rivets slide through, or on the 28 it was the bolts slide through this lobe, and then the gear is riveted or bolted to both sides of this. Well, that one and that one are missing those pieces. 1, 2, 3. So now I need to determine if 11 of the 12 rivets, well, 11 and a half of the 12 rivets now being replaced by bolts will hold and be sufficient, or do I find another hub? And this is the early hub, and the gears, the new pinion gears, or the new spider gears I have for in here, are for the early hub, and I don't know if they're interchangeable. They're different part numbers, but I don't know if they're interchangeable, so that's a tough one. Yeah, really kind of a bummer here. I was not looking to replace the central hub, because the 28, the hub in that, the whole center is cracked out. This one has broken lobes where and this isn't like a new injury. This is, you know, there's oil all over everything. So that's an old injury. So what do we do here? Guess we're going to have to ask some questions. Well, I thought this was going to be a really cool story. A couple days later, the differential hub that we were hoping was good from the 27 is not. But got to talking to some people, and Barrett, the guy that bought the 28D from me a couple years back, he contacted me and said, hey, I still have the hub out of the 28 that I bought from you, and if you come and get it, you can have it. So I went and got it, of course. It's only about an hour and 15 minutes from my place. So I went and got it from Barrett, got it home. It still had the gears on it and everything. And this one was bolted together as well instead of riveted. And when I got it apart, it was broken. So this one is the one from the 28 that I sold Barrett a couple years back. But you can see the lobes here. That one's broken, that one's broken, that one's broken, and that one's broken. So that hub is junk. So we have 3 junk differential hubs So the search continues. And I was hoping, well, maybe the spider gear pins in this are good. They're not. They're badly worn, so the search continues. Hopefully, maybe Hans, maybe he'll have a good differential hub for me. At this point, it's we're at a standstill. I can get the axles torn down, but other than that, we got to find a good hub for the differential. So that's all I've got for right now. The wind is out of my sails at this point. I'm not feeling very motivated to work on the axle housings tonight. So, and again, this has been a couple evenings now. I've worked on both of these hubs and getting them apart, and you know, it is what it is. So these things were meant to pull. You know, they're machines that were meant to be worked hard, and it seems like every piece that I seem to get is used up, but we'll get it. You know, it's just another hurdle to overcome, and we'll get it figured out. So that's going to do it for this video. I know it really wasn't much, but thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for wrenching with me, and we'll keep trying. See you later.